Perhaps, since the earliest days of humanity, people have always carried within themselves a strange longing, a longing to build something greater than themselves. Gigantic pyramids rising from burning deserts, hanging gardens described like scenes from dreams, white stone temples reflecting sunlight across the Mediterranean, and colossal statues that once made ancient people feel very small before the greatness of the world. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, civilizations did not build wonders merely from stone, gold, or marble. They built them from fear of being forgotten, faith in the divine, the longing for immortality, and the dream that humanity could leave behind traces that outlive time itself. Perhaps that is why, even though many wonders disappeared thousands of years ago, their stories never truly died. Tonight, we will journey together very slowly. A journey through moonlit Egyptian deserts, forgotten stone cities, ancient temples echoing with the footsteps of history, and monuments that once astonished the entire world. But this will not simply be a story about architecture. It is a story about the human mind, the limits of time, and the reason humanity keeps trying to build things that seem eternal, inside a world where every empire eventually collapses. You will discover why the Great Pyramid has stood for thousands of years, whether the Hanging Gardens of Babylon truly existed, how the Maya transformed astronomy into architecture, why the Taj Mahal changes color with the light, and how these ancient structures continue haunting the imagination of modern humanity. But deeper than all of that, we will quietly explore one question: what makes human beings long to be remembered? Perhaps that is exactly the story every wonder of the world is trying to tell. So, relax your shoulders, dim the lights in your room, and let the desert winds, the glow of ancient temples, and the stories of lost civilizations guide your mind gently towards sleep. And if you enjoy gentle historical stories, ancient mysteries, depth psychology, and journeys into the human mind through the lens of Jung, please subscribe to the channel and join us for future nights together. Because out there are still countless vanished empires, buried cities, and humanity's dreams carved into stone, waiting to be told beneath the soft light of the night. And now, let us begin our journey through the 7 wonders of the world, the most beautiful and fragile traces humanity has ever left upon this earth. A journey through the wonders of humanity. Long before humanity understood science, satellites, or modern maps, there already existed a silent, yet powerful longing within the human mind, the desire to build something large enough to resist the forgetting power of time. According to Carl Gustav Jung, human beings do not live only through food or shelter. Human beings live through symbols. We always want to create stories, rituals, statues, cities, and enormous monuments, to say to the world, we once existed. Perhaps that is why the wonders of the world move people in such a difficult-to-explain way. Even today, when standing before a pyramid in the desert, an ancient temple covered in sand-filled winds, or the ruins of a city lost for thousands of years, we still feel that something immense is present there. Not merely stone, not merely architecture, but traces of the human soul itself. And tonight, allow your mind to wander slowly into a very distant journey, a journey across the burning deserts of ancient Egypt, the fog-covered Mediterranean Sea, mountain peaks hidden in clouds where civilizations once prayed to the sky, and stone cities nearly forgotten by time itself. Imagine a caravan quietly crossing endless sand beneath a dark crimson sun, desert wind moving past colossal statues that have stood there for thousands of years. Far away, the Great Pyramid rises like an artificial mountain within the ancient world. According to Jung, gigantic structures often represent humanity's desire to rise above its own smallness. When the Egyptians built the pyramids, perhaps they were not simply constructing tombs, perhaps they were trying to build a bridge between humanity and eternity. Between death and the belief that the soul continues beyond it, there is something beautiful about that, and also deeply sad, because beneath every wonder, there always exists a very human fear, the fear of being forgotten. If we continue walking through history, we arrive at the hanging gardens described like something from a dream. Layers of green life rising from the dry lands of ancient Babylon, water flowing through mysterious irrigation systems, the scent of plants drifting through hot desert winds. No one truly knows whether those gardens ever existed, but according to Jung, myths sometimes reveal human psychology more deeply than historical fact itself. Perhaps human beings have always needed stories about paradise, a green sanctuary in the middle of the desert, a place where beauty triumphs over harshness, a symbol of the dream that humanity can create life even where life seems impossible. And that is the strange thing about the wonders of the world. They are not merely structures. They are dreams transformed into stone, belief transformed into architecture, and ambition transformed into physical form. If someone stood before the statue of Zeus at Olympia in ancient times, they would probably have felt unimaginably small. The massive figure, covered in gold and ivory, shining beneath torchlight, the scent of oils and ritual smoke drifting through the temple, light reflecting across the god's face as though he were truly watching humanity. According to Jung, ancient civilizations constantly tried to create sacred experiences, not only through prayer, but through light, height, space, sound, and overwhelming scale. Human beings wanted to feel that they were standing before something far greater than themselves. Perhaps that is why every wonder was built in a way that forced people to look upward. Pyramids reaching toward the sky, the Temple of Artemis filled with endless rows of towering columns, the Lighthouse of Alexandria sending light through the darkness of the sea. According to Jung, the act of looking upward carries deep psychological meaning. It symbolizes faith, searching, and the desire to transcend human limits. But what makes these wonders truly emotional is not how magnificent they once were. It is the fact that most of them disappeared. Earthquakes, war, fire, time, all eventually consumed what humanity once believed immortal. There is something deeply fragile in that truth. Human beings spent decades of labor, thousands of workers, and the wealth of entire empires to build enormous monuments, yet in the end, they could still vanish within only moments of history. According to Jung, this is humanity's greatest paradox. We know everything is temporary, yet we continue building, continue creating, continue trying to leave traces behind. Perhaps that is exactly what makes human civilization beautiful. Imagine ancient ruins beneath sunset, fallen columns covered in moss, wind moving through empty corridors. No more kings, rituals, or marching armies. Only stone, the final light of day, and the deep silence of time. According to Jung, ruins affect us so deeply because they remind us every civilization eventually becomes memory. Every empire eventually falls silent. But strangely, even after the wonders collapsed, their stories survived. Humanity still tells stories about Babylonian legends, the mysteries of the pyramids, the light of Alexandria, and cities lost among mountains or deserts. Perhaps memory is stronger than stone, and perhaps that is what true immortality really is. According to Jung, human beings exist within a collective unconscious, a place that preserves symbols, myths, and humanity's shared memories. The wonders of the world became part of that unconscious memory. Even without seeing them in person, people still feel strangely familiar with pyramids, ancient temples, colossal gods, and cities buried by time, because they represent something very deep inside the human mind, the desire to transcend limitation. If we look closely enough, every wonder is trying to say the same thing. Human beings once dreamed enormous dreams. Some built to honor the gods, others built to display power, others built for love, faith, or immortality. But in the end, every wonder becomes a mirror, reflecting the soul of the civilization that created it. A civilization always leaves its clearest traces through what it chooses to build. According to Jung, architecture is like a dream made of stone, shared by an entire culture. The pyramids reflect belief in life after death. The Temple of Artemis reflects devotion to beauty and divinity. Colosseum reflects Roman power and control over crowds. Taj Mahal reflects love, trying to outlive death itself. Every wonder is an enormous emotion transformed into architecture. Perhaps that is why modern people still feel moved by them, not because of their size, but because they contain fear, hope, and belief, and dreams, just like we do today. If we imagine this planet at night, somewhere, a pyramid still rests beneath moonlight, a stone city still sleeps among cloud-covered mountains, an ancient lighthouse disappeared from the sea thousands of years ago, and ruins buried beneath sand continue silently resisting time. According to Jung, history never truly dies. It simply sleeps inside memory, symbols, and the stories humanity continues telling one another. Perhaps that is the most beautiful thing about the wonders of the world. They remind us that, even though humanity is small and temporary, people still continue trying to create something beautiful enough to outlive time itself. The origin of the 7 wonders of the world. One of the most fascinating things about the 7 wonders of the world is this. In the beginning, they were never meant to be an official list for all humanity. There was no international organization, global council, or massive worldwide vote. There were only the ancient Greeks, trying to record the things that amazed them most in the world. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, human beings carry a very deep psychological need, the need to experience awe, not only because something is beautiful, but because certain things suddenly make us realize how small we are within the vastness of existence. And perhaps that is the true origin of the idea of a wonder. Imagine returning to the world of ancient Greece, the Mediterranean stretching endlessly beneath pale golden sunlight, wooden sailing ships slowly crossing the open sea, merchants, scholars, sailors, and travelers carrying spices, gold, stories, and rumors about distant lands. Inside taverns near the harbors of Alexandria or Rhodes, people told one another stories about statues as tall as gods, lighthouses illuminating the night sea, and green gardens rising mysteriously from the deserts of Babylon. According to Jung, humanity's collective imagination is always nourished by stories that go beyond ordinary experience. When ancient people heard about the wonders, they were not merely hearing information, they were feeling mystery, beauty, and the sacred vastness of the world beyond their horizon. Perhaps that is why the list of the 7 wonders of the world was born. At first, it was almost like a map of amazement, a list for educated people of the ancient world, those who wished to discover which creations were so extraordinary that human beings fell silent standing before them. What is especially interesting is this: the Greeks did not use the modern word wonder. They used the word thaumata, meaning things worthy of being seen. According to Jung, the act of wonder carries deep psychological meaning. It is the moment when the small human ego briefly dissolves before something greater than itself. Perhaps all of us have experienced that feeling at least once, when, standing before enormous mountains, staring into a sky full of stars, or entering an ancient structure that has survived for thousands of years. In those moments, we do not merely see architecture, we feel time itself, and the ancient Greeks felt that too. Imagine a Greek scholar seeing the Great Pyramid of Giza for the very first time, the desert stretching endlessly beneath the Egyptian sun, Then, from the distance, a gigantic geometric shape slowly emerging from the sea of sand. No modern machinery, no steel, no engines, and yet thousands of years ago, human beings created something that seemed beyond imagination itself. According to Jung, structures like these become archetypal symbols, symbols of power, is permanence, and the longing for immortality. They make people feel that the world is far larger than their brief human lives. Perhaps that is why the Seven Wonders were never simply beautiful buildings. Many ancient cities were beautiful, but a wonder had to create a feeling of awe, something that forced the human mind to pause for a few seconds and ask, how could they possibly build this? According to Jung, awe is deeply important for the human soul. It makes us more humble, more curious, and more connected to something beyond our individual selves. Perhaps that is why every civilization tried to build monumental structures, not only for practical use, but to inspire amazement, to send an invisible message. We existed. The Seven Wonders list also reflected the worldview of ancient Greece, and that is very interesting, because the list did not represent the entire world. It reflected the places Greeks knew about, traded with, or were culturally connected to. According to Jung, people always view reality through the psychological map of their own civilization. For the Greeks, the Mediterranean was the center of the world. Trade routes connecting Egypt, Babylon, Asia Minor, Rhodes, and Alexandria became pathways carrying not only goods, but also ideas, myths, art, and civilizational memory. Imagine merchants arriving at port during sunset, the smell of sea salt and shipwood filling the air. They told stories about the colossal statue at Rhodes, the lighthouse shining like a star over the sea, and the Temple of Artemis with its endless white columns reaching skyward. According to Jung, collective stories like these slowly create civilizational myths. People do not merely remember the structures, they remember the feelings those structures created. Perhaps that is why many wonders disappeared, yet continue living forever inside the imagination of humanity. One deeply moving truth is this: among the seven wonders of the ancient world, only one still survives: the Great Pyramid of Giza. Everything else collapsed, burned, was destroyed by earthquakes, or slowly vanished into time. According to Jung, this reflects something profoundly human. We always try to build things that will last forever, but time is stronger than every empire. Imagine walking among the ruins of a lost wonder, wind passing through broken columns, sand covering ancient foundations. No more kings, rituals, or crowds of astonished travelers. Only, silence, evening light, and a few surviving stones. There is something deeply sad about that, but also strangely beautiful. According to Jung, human beings mature when they accept that everything is temporary. Perhaps the wonders of the world did not truly fail when they collapsed, because their greatest purpose was never simply physical survival. It was to leave traces within human memory, and in that sense, they succeeded. Thousands of years later, people still speak about Babylon, imagine the statue of Zeus, wonder about the Hanging Gardens, and search for hidden secrets inside the pyramids. According to Jung, collective memory is stronger than stone. A monument can disappear from the earth, yet remain alive inside the human mind. Perhaps that is the true immortality every civilization secretly desired. If we look deeply enough, the Seven Wonders of the world was never merely an ancient travel list. It became a mirror reflecting what humanity admires, what fills us with awe, and the greatest dreams people ever tried to transform into reality. Perhaps that is why the wonders still move us today, because when we look at them, we are not merely seeing stone, bronze, or marble. We are seeing the desire to transcend limitation, the longing to be remembered, and the belief that humanity can create something greater than itself. And tonight, when imagining Greek ships drifting across ancient seas, scholars recording the wonders of the world, and the final sunlight reflecting across the pyramids of Giza, we begin to understand that a wonder was never merely architecture. It is the moment when human beings stand before greatness and feel their souls become smaller, yet somehow more open to the beauty and mystery of this world. Wonders as symbols of power and belief. From the earliest days of civilization, human beings understood something very profound. Power is not expressed only through armies or gold. Power is also expressed through what people build. A wall large enough can terrify enemies. A temple tall enough can make people believe the gods are present. A monument magnificent enough can cause the world to remember an empire's name for thousands of years. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, humanity carries a deep psychological need to transform invisible power into visible symbols. And architecture became the way civilizations accomplished this. Perhaps that is why every great empire in history tried to build something enormous, not only to use, but to be seen, to send a message without words. We are powerful. Imagine an ancient traveler approaching the Great Pyramid of Giza for the first time, the desert stretching endlessly beneath burning golden sunlight. From far away, a colossal stone structure slowly rising above the horizon. No grants, engines, or modern technology, yet humanity still constructed something resembling an artificial mountain. According to Jung, gigantic monuments speak directly to humanity's primitive unconscious, because since the beginning of time, human beings have feared and revered mountains, oceans, the sky, and anything larger than themselves. Ancient empires understood this, and so they built pyramids like mountains of stone, temples like gateways to heaven, and colossal statues towering above every home, not merely for beauty, but to create the feeling we are standing before something greater than humanity. Perhaps that is why the wonders of the world make people fall silent, not simply because they are beautiful, but because they overwhelm the human mind. According to Jung, when facing something truly immense, the human ego temporarily becomes smaller, and in that moment, people become more humble, more trusting, and more open to feelings of the sacred. Perhaps that is why monumental scale has always been a tool of power. If someone stood beneath the towering columns of the Temple of Artemis, sunlight filtering through forests of white stone pillars, footsteps echoing through vast, open space, ancient people probably felt that they were entering a place belonging to the gods themselves. According to Jung, religious architecture was never created merely for shelter. It was designed to shape emotion. Height forces people to look upward. Darkness creates mystery. Reflected light creates sacred atmosphere. Every detail was crafted so the human mind would feel it was standing before something holy and greater than itself. Perhaps that is when architecture becomes a language of stone, a language requiring no translation. Anyone entering immediately understands. This place is wealthy, this place is powerful, this place is protected by the gods. The wonders of the world were never only artistic achievements, they were political statements. Imagine a merchant approaching the harbor of Alexandria in ancient times. Far out at sea, he sees the towering lighthouse of Alexandria blazing against the darkness. Firelight reflecting through polished bronze mirrors across enormous distances. According to Jung, light in darkness always carries powerful symbolic meaning. It represents control, hope, and humanity's ability to conquer nature itself. For ancient people, a lighthouse of such scale did more than guide ships. It proclaimed, "This is the center of the civilized world." Perhaps that is what empires have always desired, not only to be powerful, but to be recognized as powerful. According to Jung, humanity lives inside a world of symbols: a crown, A flag, a palace, a colossal statue, all become psychological signals that create feelings of authority before words are even spoken. The wonders functioned in exactly this way. They caused travelers to feel astonishment, merchants to spread stories, and the reputation of empires to travel across the world. Imagine Greek travelers returning home, telling stories about a statue of Zeus so lifelike it seemed divine, gardens suspended above the desert, and pyramids blazing beneath the Egyptian sun. According to Jung, collective storytelling creates what we might call a civilizational aura. An empire is not powerful only because of its military. It becomes powerful because others believe it is magnificent. Perhaps that is the true power of the wonders. Not merely stone or gold, but the feelings they create within the human mind. If we look deeply enough, every wonder is sending the same message. The people here were powerful enough to accomplish the impossible, and that mattered enormously in the ancient world. Because there was no internet, no television, no social media, architecture itself became the greatest form of communication. A gigantic wall, a golden temple, a bronze statue taller than every rooftop. Each one was a declaration of wealth, organization, and civilizational power. According to Jung, human beings always need to visualize strength, because the human mind responds far more intensely to symbols than abstract numbers. An empire can say, "We are rich," but a monumental structure makes people feel that truth without explanation. Perhaps that is why the wonders were always built enormous, towering, almost unbelievable, because scale itself creates reverence. Imagine standing beneath the Colossus of Rhodes, a giant bronze figure gazing across the harbor, sunlight reflecting brilliantly across the metal surface, ships appearing tiny beneath its shadow. According to Jung, the image of the giant appears constantly throughout humanity's collective unconscious. It symbolizes power, divinity, and something beyond ordinary human limitation. Ancient civilizations understood this very clearly, and through architecture, they transformed themselves into giants. But what makes the wonders truly emotional is that although they were built to symbolize eternity, most eventually fell. Earthquakes, war, fire, time, every empire eventually disappears. According to Jung, this is humanity's most beautiful tragedy. We know we are temporary, yet we continue building things as though they might last forever. Perhaps that fragility is exactly what makes the wonders so moving. If a monument lasted eternally, perhaps it would not affect us so deeply. But when we see broken columns, statues missing their heads, and ruins buried beneath sand, we begin to understand. Every form of power eventually becomes memory. According to Jung, people mature when they realize true greatness does not come from lasting forever. It comes from leaving a mark upon the minds of others. And in that sense, the wonders of the world succeeded. Thousands of years later, human beings still speak about them, imagine them, and feel emotional standing before what remains. Perhaps the wonders were never merely architectural achievements. They were dreams made of stone, belief transformed into physical form, and the voices of civilizations longing to be remembered. If we imagine Earth from far away, in the darkness of space, all empires, cities, palaces, and wars become incredibly small. Yet somewhere on that planet, ancient monuments still stand silently beneath moonlight, as reminders that human beings have always longed to transcend their own limitations. And perhaps that is the most beautiful thing about the wonders of the world. Not that they were perfect, but that they reflect a deeply human truth, that even though humanity is fragile and temporary, people still continue trying to build something large enough to touch immortality, the fragility of things that seem eternal. The saddest thing about the wonders of the world is not that they eventually collapsed. It is this: the people who built them truly believed they would last forever. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, human beings carry a very deep fear within themselves, the fear of being erased by time. Perhaps that is why ancient civilizations always tried to create things that were enormous, enduring, and eternal. Pyramids made from millions of tons of stone, temples with hundreds of marble columns, gigantic bronze statues glowing beneath the sun. All of them seem to send a message into the future. We will not disappear. But then, time still arrived, quietly, slowly, without armies, without weapons, only through wind, sand, rain, earthquakes, and the silence of centuries. Imagine an earthquake in the ancient world, the ground trembling beneath human feet, massive stone columns cracking with deep, heavy sounds. A statue once feared and worshipped by thousands, falling into dust and darkness beneath the echo of collapsing stone. According to Jung, humanity always wants to believe it can control the world, but nature constantly reminds us everything is more fragile than we imagine. Perhaps that is why ancient ruins affect people so deeply. They are proof that even things once believed immortal can disappear. If we look closely enough, most wonders of the world were not destroyed in a single moment. They died slowly. An earthquake cracked a few walls. A war caused part of a temple to collapse. A fire destroyed the wooden interiors. Then, years later, people dismantled the stones to build something else. The stones that once belonged to wonders slowly became homes, fortresses, roads, bridges, or new cities. According to Jung, this is the natural cycle of civilization. Nothing truly vanishes. It simply changes form. Perhaps parts of the ancient wonders still survive somewhere, inside medieval walls, beneath ancient streets, or hidden within the foundations of modern cities. There is something both sad and strangely beautiful about that. Imagine a stonemason centuries later, using stones from a fallen wonder to build a small home. Perhaps he never knew that the stone once belonged to a monument admired by the entire ancient world. According to Jung, time slowly erases the original meaning of every symbol. Things once considered sacred gradually become ordinary. Things once representing power eventually become building material. And perhaps that is why history feels both beautiful and heartbreaking. Imagine walking among ancient ruins during late afternoon, wind moving through broken columns, grass growing through cracked marble floors. No more kings, rituals, or crowds arriving in wonder from distant lands. Only golden evening light, birds in the distance, and the silence of time. According to Jung, people feel emotional around ruins because they reflect our own mortality. The wonders were built to resist forgetting, but in the end, they too became memory. Perhaps this is especially true of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, a wonder so famous that nearly everyone knows its name. Yet paradoxically, no one knows exactly how it truly existed. No clear foundations remain, no gardens, no irrigation systems, only ingent descriptions, legends, and imagination. According to Jung, sometimes the thing that survives longest is not reality, but myth. There is something deeply poetic about the idea that a wonder can disappear from the physical world, yet continue living forever inside the human mind. Perhaps that is the moment when history begins turning into dream. Imagine an ancient storyteller sitting beside firelight, describing green gardens rising from the desert, flowing water cascading across elevated terraces, and beauty so extraordinary that travelers believed they had glimpsed paradise itself. According to Jung, humanity always needs symbols that transcend ordinary reality, because the human mind does not survive on facts alone. We live through memory, imagery, and stories that give meaning to existence. Perhaps that is why, the more the wonders disappear, the more mysterious they become. When a structure remains intact, we merely see it. But when it collapses, we begin imagining it. According to Jung, imagination is where the collective unconscious continues to live. An incomplete ruin forces the human mind to fill the empty spaces itself. And sometimes, what we imagine becomes even more powerful than the original reality. If we look up into the night sky above ancient ruins, perhaps the strongest feeling is not loss, but silence. A silence that makes humanity realize every empire will eventually sleep beneath time. According to Jung, time is the one force humanity can never defeat. No army defeats time. No statue survives thousands of years of wind and sand unchanged. No empire lasts forever. Perhaps that is the deepest lesson the wonders leave behind. Not how to build, but how fragile everything human beings create truly is. Imagine the people who built the wonders. They probably believed their monuments would endure forever, their empire's name would never fade, and the power of their civilization would survive eternally. Yet now, many names are gone. Many languages are no longer spoken. Many rulers survive only as faded lines in history books. According to Jung, this forces humanity to confront a very difficult truth, that everything eventually passes away. But perhaps that very impermanence is what makes civilization beautiful. If everything lasted forever, perhaps people would not struggle so passionately to create beauty, to love so intensely, to build wonders with such hope and faith. Perhaps the wonders became sacred precisely because they were fragile, just like human life itself. According to Jung, true beauty is always connected to impermanence. A flower is beautiful because it fades. A sunset is beautiful because it disappears. And perhaps the wonders of the world are beautiful because they cannot survive forever. If we stood today before the ruins of the Temple of Artemis or the Colossus of Rhodes, we would no longer see their original glory. Yet strangely, it is the emptiness itself that moves the human soul, because places once filled with light, rituals, footsteps, and imperial power now contain only wind. According to Jung, the silence of ruins allows people to feel time more deeply than any history lesson ever could. It reminds us, every civilization is only a brief moment in the endless movement of the world, and perhaps that is what the wonders are trying to tell us today. Not, look how powerful we once were, but instead, even things that seem eternal will eventually disappear. And yet strangely, even after the monuments collapsed, even after stones were taken away, even after time erased almost every trace, human beings continue telling their stories. According to Jung, collective memory is stronger than matter itself. A wonder can vanish from the earth, yet still survive inside dreams, legends, and humanity's imagination. Perhaps that is the only true immortality human beings can ever achieve. Not eternal survival through stone, but through story. And tonight, when imagining fallen statues, temples buried beneath sand, and lonely columns standing beneath moonlight, we begin to understand every wonder eventually becomes memory. But perhaps that is exactly what makes them more beautiful than ever. Great Pyramid of Giza, humanity's eternal symbol. Throughout all of human history, no structure has made humanity feel both more amazed and smaller than the Great Pyramid of Giza. In the vast Egyptian desert, where hot winds carrying sand have blown for thousands of years, the Great Pyramid still stands, silent, massive, almost unmoving against time itself. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, human beings carry a very deep longing, the desire to transcend the limits of mortality. Perhaps the Great Pyramid is the stone-shaped form of that longing. Imagine returning to Egypt around 4,500 years ago, the sun slowly rising above the desert horizon, thousands of workers beginning their labor beneath the pale red light of dawn, the sound of ropes tightening, wood dragging across sand, footsteps and rhythmic shouting echoing through open space. There were no kranze, excavators, or modern machines, only human strength, organization, and belief that they were participating in something greater than their own individual lives. According to Jung, humanity's greatest creations are always born from collective belief. No single individual could build a pyramid. It could only exist when thousands of people shared one purpose, one symbol, and one collective dream. Perhaps that is what makes the Great Pyramid so extraordinary. It is not merely a tomb. It is proof that human beings can cooperate to create something beyond imagination itself. If we stood before the pyramid when it was newly completed, we would not see the weathered golden stone visible today. The entire surface was once covered with polished white limestone. Beneath the Egyptian sun, it reflected light so intensely that it almost appeared to glow across the desert. According to Jung, light has always symbolized divinity, immortality, and hope beyond death. Perhaps that is why the pyramid was designed to shine, not simply as architecture, but as a symbol of permanence. Seen from far away in ancient times, the Great Pyramid probably resembled a mountain of light rising from the human world. And that was almost certainly intentional. Ancient Egyptians believed the pharaoh was not merely a king. He was a bridge between humanity, the gods, and the cosmos itself. According to Jung, ancient civilizations often used architecture to express invisible beliefs. The pyramid did not merely contain a pharaoh's body. It functioned as a symbolic machine, a structure created to declare that the soul could continue its journey beyond death. Perhaps that is why the pyramid's shape always points upward toward the sky, a stable form rooted in earth, yet rising toward heaven. According to Jung, upward movement carries profound psychological meaning. It symbolizes transcendence, enlightenment, and the longing to rise beyond physical limitation. Perhaps that is why, even after thousands of years, people still feel emotional when seeing the pyramids, not only because of their size, but because they touch something deep inside the human unconscious. Imagine entering the interior of the Great Pyramid, the air becoming cooler and quieter, light slowly disappearing, only narrow stone corridors extending deeper into darkness. According to Jung, darkness inside ancient structures often symbolizes the journey into the unconscious, a journey away from the outer world, away from familiar light, toward the mysteries of life and death themselves. Perhaps that is the feeling the Egyptians intended to create. The pyramid was not designed merely to impress. It was designed as a spiritual experience, a place where people felt they were crossing the boundary between the visible world and eternity. What is fascinating is this: despite centuries of research, the pyramid remains filled with mystery. Its ventilation shafts, its narrow passageways leading toward hidden chambers, its unexplained empty spaces. According to Jung, the strongest symbols always contain something unresolved, because mystery keeps the human mind searching. Perhaps, if every secret of the pyramid were fully explained, it would lose part of the mystical soul that has fascinated humanity for millennia. If we examine it carefully, the astonishing thing is not only its size, but its precision. Gigantic stone blocks fitted together almost perfectly. Edges aligned with extraordinary accuracy. The structure oriented almost exactly toward the cardinal directions. According to Jung, humanity constantly seeks order as protection against chaos. Perhaps the pyramid was not only a symbol of power, it was also an attempt to create perfection inside an uncertain world. And that makes it a symbol transcending its own era. For a long time, many believed the pyramids were built by slaves. But later, ancient graffiti was discovered, names of worker teams, organizational markings, evidence of real human beings who lived and labored there. According to Jung, history often causes us to forget the individuals behind monumental achievements. We remember pharaohs, empire, wonders, but forget the rope pullers, the stone cutters, the cooks feeding workers, the exhausted laborers resting beneath desert sunlight after long days of work. Perhaps the most beautiful thing about the Great Pyramid is that it does not represent only the power of one king. It represents humanity's extraordinary ability to cooperate. Thousands of small human lives working together to create something lasting longer than their own civilization. According to Jung, this is the power of the collective unconscious, human beings connected through symbols larger than themselves. Perhaps every great civilization is built that way, not through technology alone, but through shared belief. Imagine looking at the pyramid at night, the desert becoming colder, the Egyptian sky filled with stars, the massive stone structure resting beneath silver moonlight. According to Jung, monuments surviving across immense spans of time eventually gain a kind of symbolic soul. They stop being mere objects. They become memory, myth, and mirrors reflecting humanity itself. Perhaps that is why, even after thousands of years, the Great Pyramid still moves people in ways difficult to explain. It reminds us that a civilization once existed, once dreamed enormously, and tried to touch eternity using stone. According to Jung, humanity has always feared death, but instead of surrendering completely to despair, people create art, religion, memory, and wonders of the world. Perhaps the pyramid is humanity's most beautiful response to mortality, a whisper spoken toward time itself. We know we will disappear, but we still want to leave something behind. And strangely, most ancient wonders eventually collapsed, but the Great Pyramid still remains, worn down, stripped of its original white casing, no longer glowing as it once did, yet still standing, as though time itself has tried to pull it down, without ever fully succeeding. There is something deeply emotional about that survival. According to Jung, symbols surviving across ages often represent something very deep inside humanity itself. Perhaps the pyramid endured not only because of engineering, but because it reflects the very thing human beings have always desired, to be remembered. Seen from very far away, the Great Pyramid is only a tiny triangle within an endless desert, but inside humanity's imagination, it is far larger. It has become a symbol of civilization, a symbol of endurance, and a symbol of humanity's dream of creating something capable of outlasting time itself. And tonight, when imagining moonlight falling across the ancient stones of Giza, we begin to understand. The Great Pyramid is not merely a wonder. It is humanity's ancient whisper to the future, that although human life is brief, people will always continue trying to build something strong enough to touch eternity. Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the most mysterious wonder. Among all the ancient wonders humanity has ever described, none feels more like a dream than the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Because the strangest thing about the gardens is this: perhaps they never truly existed at all. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, the things that haunt the human mind most deeply are not always facts. Sometimes they are symbols existing somewhere between reality and dream, history and myth, memory and imagination. Perhaps the Hanging Gardens survived thousands of years not through stone or brick, but through their ability to make humanity continue dreaming about them. Imagine returning to ancient Mesopotamia, hot winds moving across dusty plains, the sun burning over the dry land between two great rivers, and in the distance, Babylon rising like a city that almost did not belong to the natural world. Massive walls, temples glazed in blue tiles, gates carved with lions and sacred bulls, and somewhere inside that city, people said there existed a multi-layered garden where green life flourished, in a place where green should not have existed. According to Jung, the garden is one of the deepest symbols within humanity's collective unconscious. From the Garden of Eden paradise itself, to the meditation gardens of the East. Human beings have always imagined a place that is green, peaceful, orderly, and calm amidst chaos. Perhaps the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were the ancient version of that dream. If we close our eyes and imagine water flowing across elevated stone terraces, palm trees and vines casting shadows over corridors, flowers blooming from gardens suspended high above the earth, the scent of plants mixing with desert winds. According to ancient descriptions, the gardens resembled an artificial green mountain rising from Babylon's dry landscape. According to Jung, humanity constantly tries to recreate nature in ways that reflect the inner soul. Perhaps building a gigantic garden in the middle of the desert was not merely a display of engineering. It was a declaration that human beings could overcome the harshness of nature itself. There is something profoundly human in that longing. We always want to turn deserts green, turn darkness into light, transform mortality into permanence. And the Hanging Gardens may have been one of the most beautiful dreams ever created from that desire. What makes the story even stranger is this: nobody truly knows how the gardens were built. Some ancient accounts describe screw-like water systems, chains of buckets, or advanced manual irrigation technologies. Water somehow had to be lifted from the Euphrates River to elevated terraces beneath a brutally hot climate. According to Jung, structures surpassing ordinary imagination naturally become mythic in the human mind, because when confronted with something extraordinary, the mind begins to feel this should not be possible, and that feeling itself creates legend. Imagine standing beneath the gardens during an ancient Babylonian afternoon, sunlight passing through layers of leaves, water echoing softly through the heat, shadows dancing across stone walls. Perhaps, to ancient people, the place truly resembled paradise on earth. According to Jung, water within ancient symbolism often represents life, the unconscious, and rebirth. Perhaps that is why the image of flowing water within the desert feels so powerful. It symbolizes hope, the belief that life can still exist in the most barren places imaginable. But then, something strange happened. Time passed. Empires collapsed. Babylon slowly disappeared beneath dust and sand, and the gardens disappeared as well. No definitive archaeological proof has ever been found. No certain foundations, no intact irrigation systems, no undeniable remains. According to Jung, when reality becomes incomplete, human imagination begins filling the empty spaces, and sometimes myth survives longer than history itself. Perhaps that is the beautiful and tragic truth about the Hanging Gardens. They survive as blurred memory, half real, half dream. Some modern scholars even suggest the gardens may not have stood in Babylon at all, but in Nineveh, the capital of the Assyrian Empire. That possibility makes the story even more mysterious. According to Jung, people do not only love truth, we love the feeling of searching. An unsolved mystery keeps the human mind alive more powerfully than a complete answer. Perhaps, if archaeologists discovered the Hanging Gardens perfectly preserved tomorrow, part of their mythical beauty would disappear, because ambiguity itself transformed them into something greater than history. If we look deeper, the Hanging Gardens are not merely a story about architecture, they are a story about imagination itself. According to Jung, imagination is one of humanity's greatest powers. Human beings do not live only in reality. We live through symbols, dreams, and images created inside the mind. Perhaps that is why a garden that may never have existed can still haunt humanity thousands of years later. Imagine an ancient Greek traveler hearing stories of the gardens. He has never visited Babylon, never seen them himself. Yet inside his imagination, a green paradise slowly appears. According to Jung, every powerful myth works this way. It creates vivid images inside the unconscious. And when those images become beautiful enough, They begin to feel more real than physical reality itself. Perhaps that is what happened to the Hanging Gardens. Over time, they slowly left history and entered the symbolic world instead, a symbol of dream, beauty, and humanity's longing to rise beyond natural limits. If we look more broadly, perhaps all civilization itself was built from dreams like these. Human beings looked at deserts, mountains, oceans, and darkness, and said, "We want to transform this place into something else." According to Jung, civilization begins the moment humanity refuses to completely accept nature exactly as it is. We want to build cities, grow gardens, raise temples, and create beauty within chaos. The Hanging Gardens reflect exactly that impulse, a green dream growing from barren land. Nature reshaped by human imagination. But what makes the story even deeper is that eventually, the gardens disappeared. According to Jung, every material dream eventually fades away. No structure truly defeats time. Perhaps that is why the Hanging Gardens feel so emotional. They represent fragile beauty, desires that can never be held forever, and dreams always slipping through human hands. Imagine Babylon during its final forgotten nights, desert wind moving through empty corridors, water no longer flowing upward through the terraces, leaves drying beneath relentless heat, stone walls beginning to crack, and then sand slowly covering everything. According to Jung, every great symbol carries a hidden sadness, the sadness of impermanence. But perhaps that fragility is precisely what makes beauty unforgettable. If the Hanging Gardens still existed perfectly today, perhaps they would simply be another tourist site. But because they vanished, they became legend. And legend is sometimes stronger than stone. According to Jung, the things surviving longest within humanity are not material objects, but stories, symbols, and collective memory. Perhaps the Hanging Gardens of Babylon never truly disappeared at all. They still exist, inside paintings, inside dreams, inside history books, and inside the imagination of countless human beings across millennia. If we look up at the night sky and imagine those gardens, a green paradise in the ancient desert, water flowing softly beneath moonlight, leaves trembling in Babylon's night wind, we begin to understand. Sometimes the most powerful things in history are not the things certainly proven to exist, but the things that continue making humanity dream. And perhaps that is the true immortality of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Statue of Zeus at Olympia, the presence of the divine. In the ancient world, no force inspired more awe and longing than the gods themselves. And perhaps no monument ever made people feel they were truly standing before a god more powerfully than the statue of Zeus at Olympia. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, humanity has always carried a deep desire to see the sacred with human eyes, because belief sometimes needs a shape, a face, a light, a symbol vast enough to make the soul feel the divine is truly here. Perhaps that is why the ancient Greeks created the statue of Zeus, not merely as art, but as a complete emotional experience, a moment designed to make anyone entering the temple feel they stood before something greater than themselves. Imagine returning to Olympia more than 2,000 years ago. Mediterranean sunlight washing across white stone columns, pilgrims walking slowly through the sacred grounds, the scent of olive oil, incense, and warm dust drifting through the air. And then they step into the darkness of the temple. According to Jung, every spiritual journey begins by leaving the familiar world behind. Outside, light slowly disappears. The air becomes cooler, quieter, more mysterious. Perhaps the Greeks understood human psychology extremely well, because the Temple of Zeus was not merely built to hold a statue, it was designed like a stage for sacred emotion. As visitors moved deeper inside, their eyes slowly adjusted to darkness. Oil lamps reflected softly across marble, and then Zeus appeared, massive, silent, almost beyond human scale. According to ancient descriptions, the statue was crafted from gold, ivory, wood, and the most precious materials of the ancient world. Zeus's skin gleamed pale from ivory. His robes and throne shimmered with gold beneath flickering firelight. According to Jung, gold has always symbolized immortality, divine power, and transcendence. Within humanity's collective unconscious, gold is associated with the sun, sacredness, and realities beyond ordinary life. Perhaps that is why the statue was not created merely to appear beautiful. It was created to overwhelm the soul. If you stood before it, you would almost certainly have to lift your head upward. Zeus's face looking down from enormous height, not angry, not violent, but calm in a way that made humanity feel incredibly small. According to Jung, the feeling of smallness before the sacred is one of humanity's most powerful psychological experiences. It caused the ego to soften, the mind to open, and the soul to connect with something greater than itself. Perhaps that was the statue's true purpose, not to demonstrate sculptural skill, but to create the sensation of divinity itself. What is remarkable is that the sculptor Phidias seemed to understand this perfectly. He did not merely create a sculpture. He created light, space, proportion, and emotion. According to Jung, the greatest art always transcends material form. It speaks directly to the unconscious. Perhaps Phidias understood that, for people to believe in gods, they first needed to feel the gods, and so every detail inside the temple was carefully arranged. Light entering in measured amounts, darkness preserving mystery, olive oil reflecting firelight across ivory and gold, making the statue appear almost illuminated from within. Imagine standing there at night, absolute silence surrounding the temple, lamp flames trembling gently, golden reflections moving across Zeus's face. Perhaps many ancient people truly believed they stood before a living god. According to Jung, human beings do not believe through logic alone. We believe through feeling. An experience powerful enough can completely reshape the inner world. And the statue of Zeus may have been exactly that. A carefully designed sacred experience. A fusion, art, architecture, light, and belief. There is something beautiful in how the Greeks used beauty itself to create faith. They did not try to make the gods terrifying. They made them magnificent. According to Jung, beauty possesses deep psychological power. People connect to the sacred more easily through beauty than through fear. Perhaps that is why Greek art constantly pursued balance, harmony, and ideal beauty, because for them, beauty itself reflected divine presence. If we look deeply enough, the statue of Zeus did not merely represent Greek religion. It reflected a profoundly human dream, the dream that beauty can bring humanity closer to the divine. And yet, like many wonders, the statue eventually vanished from the world. Over time, ivory cracked, materials decayed, temples deteriorated, and history changed. Perhaps the saddest thing about the statue of Zeus is that it required constant care simply to survive. Ivory is fragile. Gold requires protection. Everything was more vulnerable than its magnificent appearance suggested. According to Jung, this reflects a deep truth. All beauty is fragile. Even something created to represent divinity could not escape time. Imagine Olympia, centuries later, the sacred fires extinguished, columns collapsing beneath earthquakes and war, the enormous statue gone forever. No one truly knows exactly what Zeus's face once looked like. Only ancient descriptions, a few coins, and fading memory remain. According to Jung, what disappears often becomes even more sacred inside the human imagination, because once we can no longer see something, we begin imagining it, and imagination sometimes creates images stronger than reality itself. Perhaps the statue of Zeus still survives in that way, no longer through gold or ivory, but within humanity's collective unconscious, as a symbol of an age when people believed art could make the gods feel present among humanity. If we step back further, perhaps all human history is a long attempt to see the invisible. We build temples, churches, sacred statues, and wonders of the world to give visible form to invisible things. According to Jung, human beings need symbols in order to connect with the deepest parts of themselves, and the statue of Zeus may have been one of the strongest symbols ever created, not merely because of size, but because of the feeling it inspired, a feeling of awe, peace, and sacred wonder. Imagine moonlight falling across the ruins of Olympia today, night wind moving through broken columns. No statue remains. No golden glow survives. No prayers echo through the temple anymore. Only stone foundations, grass growing among ruins, and the profound silence of time itself. Yet strangely, even though the statue vanished long ago, humanity continues telling its story. According to Jung, what truly becomes immortal is never material, but symbolic. And perhaps that is the legacy the statue of Zeus left behind. Not merely memory of a wonder, but a reminder that humanity will always long to create beauty vast enough to make the soul believe the divine still exists somewhere within this world. Mausoleum at Halicarnassus, the tomb that entered language. One of humanity's deepest hidden longings is this: to be remembered after we disappear, not only through a name, but through something large enough that time itself cannot easily erase the traces of a human life. And perhaps the mausoleum at Halicarnassus was one of humanity's most beautiful and tragic attempts to resist oblivion. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, human beings do not merely fear death. We fear the possibility that our existence will vanish from the memory of the world. Perhaps that is why throughout history, humanity has always built tombs, monuments, temples, and wonders as a way of whispering to the future. We were here. Imagine returning to ancient Halicarnassus. Mediterranean winds moving softly through crowded harbors, sunlight reflecting across white marble, and in the center of the city, a gigantic structure slowly appearing, part temple, part palace, part dream carved from stone. It was the tomb built for Mausolus, a ruler serving under the Persian Empire. According to Jung, memorial structures always reflect the way human beings confront mortality. Some accept disappearance, others attempt to leave a mark behind, and perhaps Mausolus wanted to create a place that would outlive his body itself. What makes the monument fascinating is this: it did not belong to a single culture. It blended together Greek influence, Persian influence, and elements of the ancient East. According to Jung, civilizations often become most powerful when cultures begin merging together. When art, belief, and symbolism start flowing into one another. Perhaps the mausoleum was not merely a burial place for one man. It became a symbol of an interconnected world, trade, in the proper sense, and imagination crossing borders. If you stood before the structure in antiquity, you would have seen elegant Greek columns, stepped roofs inspired by Eastern architecture, and countless sculptures covering nearly every surface. Ancient descriptions speak of warriors, mythological figures, horses, gods, and violent battle scenes carved in astonishing detail. According to Jung, human beings always tell stories about themselves through images. A tomb is never simply a container for the dead. It is a story in stone about power, victory, and how someone wishes to be remembered. Perhaps every sculpture upon the mausoleum was trying to say, the person resting here was once great. Imagine sunset falling across the monument, The shadows of statues stretching across marble floors, golden light touching mythological faces carved into stone. There is something deeply quiet, yet strangely proud about that image. According to Jung, humanity constantly tries to create what he might call symbolic continuation, a way for the self to remain present even after the body disappears. And architecture is one of the strongest tools ever created for that purpose. Perhaps that is why the tomb of Mausolus became so astonishing to the ancient world, that eventually his very name transformed into a common word, mausoleum, a word still used today to describe monumental tombs across the world. According to Jung, this is psychologically extraordinary. Very few human beings become linguistic symbols. Their names transcend individuality and become ideas themselves. Perhaps that is a strange form of immortality. Mausolus may have died thousands of years ago, yet his name still survives whenever humanity speaks about monumental tombs. If we look deeply enough, there is something profoundly human in this paradox. A man built a tomb to resist forgetting, and in the end, the tomb itself allowed his name to survive longer than the empire he once served. According to Jung, people always hope that some fragment of themselves will continue living on through memory, descendant, art, or symbols. And perhaps the mausoleum at Halicarnassus became a perfect symbol of that longing. But then, like many wonders, time slowly began speaking. Earthquakes cracked the columns. Statues collapsed. The roof deteriorated across centuries. According to Jung, time is the final adversary of every civilization. No army defeats it. No ruler controls it. And perhaps the saddest truth is this: the structures built to endure forever eventually break apart. Imagine people centuries later walking through the ruins. Enormous stone blocks scattered beneath wild grass. Statues missing their heads. Almost nobody remembering the monument's original glory anymore. And gradually, stones from the structure were removed to build castles and fortresses elsewhere. According to Jung, this is the natural cycle of history. Nothing truly disappears. Everything merely changes form. Perhaps parts of the wonder still survive somewhere else, inside different walls, inside another age, carrying another meaning. There is something quietly beautiful about that idea, and perhaps memory itself works the same way. We do not preserve the past perfectly. We carry fragments of it into the present. According to Jung, humanity's collective unconscious resembles an ancient city built from countless ruins. Old symbols continue living inside new forms. And perhaps the mausoleum survives exactly like that, no longer whole in marble, but still alive, in language, in history, and in the belief that architecture can outlast death itself. If you stood among the ruins of Halicarnassus today, sea wind would move softly across ancient stones. No more marble warriors, no more colossal roof, no more mythological statues standing beneath the sun. Only faint traces remain. Yet strangely, humanity still tells its story. According to Jung, what survives longest is never material. It is meaning. Perhaps the mausoleum does not endure because its stones were eternal. It endures because it touched something deeply human, the longing to be remembered. If we look more broadly, perhaps all civilization is ultimately a conversation with death. Human beings build cities, libraries, monuments, and wonders in resistance against the final silence of time. According to Jung, this is not weakness. It is one of humanity's most beautiful qualities, because even while knowing life is temporary, we still try to create something larger than our brief existence. Perhaps that is why the ancient wonders always feel both tragic and gentle at the same time. They are proof that human beings know they will die, yet continue creating beauty anyway. Imagine moonlight falling across the mausoleum during an ancient Mediterranean night. Stone statues, silent beneath a sky full of stars. Distant waves echoing from the sea. And somewhere inside that structure, a human being trying to whisper to the future, "Please do not forget me." According to Jung, every memorial is ultimately a dialogue between humanity and time, a quiet plea that says, "This life once mattered," and perhaps that is why the mausoleum at Halicarnassus still moves us today, not only because of its beauty, but because it reflects something profoundly human, that sometimes what we truly desire is not power, nor wealth, but simply the hope that after we disappear, some small trace of us will remain within the world. Colossus of Rhodes, the giant of victory. Perhaps one of humanity's deepest desires after surviving hardship is this: to transform victory into something permanent, not only inside memory, but through stone, metal, and monuments large enough to force time itself to look back. And perhaps the Colossus of Rhodes was exactly that kind of dream. A colossal statue raised not merely to celebrate triumph, but to tell the world, "We survived." From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, human beings always want their victories to mean something greater than themselves. After war, we do not merely want to remain alive, we want to be remembered, to be admired, and to transform fear into a symbol of strength. Perhaps the Colossus of Rhodes was born from that longing. Imagine returning to the island of Rhodes in antiquity. Mediterranean winds carrying salt and sunlight across the harbor. Wooden ships crowded along the docks. The city still bearing the scars of war. Historically, Rhodes had survived a devastating siege against one of the most powerful armies of its age. And when the war ended, its people wanted to create something more than a celebration. They wanted to carve survival itself into history. According to Jung, after collective trauma, human beings create symbols to heal shared fear. A civilization surviving catastrophe needs a story, an image, a monument, to believe its suffering had meaning. Perhaps the statue of Helios became exactly that symbol. Helios, god of the sun, light, life, victory over darkness. According to Jung, the sun is one of humanity's oldest symbols within the collective unconscious. It represents hope, strength, and consciousness, overcoming fear. Perhaps that is why the people of Rhodes did not raise a god of war. They raised the sun itself, as though saying, after the darkness of conflict, light still remains. Imagine the monument, newly completed, a gigantic bronze figure, towering beside the harbor. Sunlight blazing across polished metal. Sailors seeing the statue long before seeing the city itself. Ancient accounts describe the Colossus as constructed from bronze, iron frameworks, and astonishing engineering for its era. What makes the story especially powerful is this: many materials reportedly came from the enemy's abandoned weapons. According to Jung, this image carries deep symbolic meaning. Human beings transformed instruments of destruction into a symbol of survival. Perhaps that is one of humanity's most beautiful abilities. We can turn suffering into art, ruins into memory, war into a reminder that we are still alive. Imagine standing beneath the statue during late afternoon, its immense shadow stretching across heated stone, waves echoing softly through Rhodes Harbor, seagulls circling above pale blue skies. Perhaps ancient visitors truly felt they stood before something beyond ordinary human limits. According to Jung, colossal size powerfully affects the human psyche. When confronted by something overwhelmingly large, the ego suddenly becomes smaller, and in that moment, people experience awe, wonder, and connection to something greater than themselves. Perhaps that is why civilizations always built gigantic statues, monumental temples, and wonders of impossible scale, not merely to appear beautiful, but to create the feeling of almost divine power. Yet what makes the Colossus tragic is how briefly it survived. Only decades after completion, an earthquake shattered the statue. According to Jung, every symbol of human power must eventually confront the same truth. Nature does not care about our ambitions. Earthquakes do not distinguish between kings, wonders, or empires. And in a single moment, something that once amazed the entire world collapsed into ruin. There is something deeply painful in that image. A monument created to symbolize victory, ultimately defeated by time itself. According to Jung, this reflects one of humanity's deepest anxieties. We always want to believe power will endure, triumph will last forever, and what we build can escape impermanence. But life continually reminds us otherwise. Perhaps that is the Colossus's deepest meaning, not merely a symbol of triumph, but a quiet reminder that every human victory is temporary. Yet strangely, even after the statue collapsed, its ruins continued astonishing visitors for centuries. Travelers journeyed to Rhodes simply to see the enormous fragments scattered across the ground. Ancient writers claimed even the statue's fingers were larger than entire human bodies. According to Jung, ruins sometimes move people more deeply than intact monuments, because they allow us to feel the passing of time, the beauty that once existed, and the sadness of all things once great. Imagine an ancient traveler standing before the fallen remains, bronze fragments covered in dust, broken iron frames exposed beneath the sun, parts of the sun god lying silently upon the earth. Perhaps that was the moment humanity realized. Even gods made of metal are not immortal. According to Jung, psychological maturity begins with accepting impermanence, not through despair, but through understanding that beauty itself exists because life is fragile. Perhaps the Colossus still moves us because it reflects that truth. It was once radiant, magnificent, overwhelming to the ancient world, and then it fell, just like empires, dreams, and countless things humanity once believed eternal. Yet, in a strange way, the Colossus still defeated time, not through physical form, but through story. According to Jung, what survives longest within humanity is never stone or metal. It is symbolism, and the Colossus became a symbol of strength, pride, enhovesse, and the fragility of power itself. Imagine standing beside the sea at Rhodes during the night, dark waves moving beneath the stars. Far away lies the place where the giant once stood. No bronze remains, no towering Helios, only ocean, our sky, and the silence of time. Yet strangely, within that absence, the Colossus became more immortal than ever. According to Jung, what disappears often survives longest inside imagination, because the mind constantly tries to complete what has been lost. Perhaps that is why humanity still tells the story of the Colossus of Rhodes thousands of years later, not merely because it was enormous, but because it reminds us of something deeply human, that every victory is fragile, yet humanity's desire to rise beyond fear is almost eternal. Lighthouse of Alexandria, the light that guided the world. From humanity's very first journeys across the sea, the ocean has always carried two faces. One face is trade, exploration, and new horizons. The other is darkness, storms, and the terror of becoming lost within endless emptiness. According to Carl Gustav Jung, the sea within the human unconscious represents the unknown itself. It symbolizes mystery, the unconscious mind, and primal fear before forces beyond control. Perhaps that is why light upon the sea has always carried extraordinary meaning, and perhaps no light ever made humanity feel safer than the Lighthouse of Alexandria, the legendary beacon of the ancient world. Imagine returning to ancient Alexandria more than 2,000 years ago, a wooden ship drifting across the Mediterranean at night. Black water stretching endlessly, cold wind rising from the sea, no GPS, no radar, no modern maps, only stars, experience, and hope of finding shore before storms arrived. And then, somewhere across the horizon, a light appears, small at first, then steadier, brighter, a flame suspended high above darkness. According to Jung, light is one of humanity's most powerful symbols. It represents consciousness, hope, guidance, and the ability to overcome fear. Perhaps that is why the Lighthouse of Alexandria was never merely an engineering achievement. It was psychological symbolism made visible, a message to every sailor lost at sea. You are no longer alone. Imagine seeing the lighthouse during its greatest age, towering above the island of Pharos, so tall it almost seemed to touch the sky. By day, sunlight reflected across pale stone walls. By night, fire atop the tower cast light far across the sea. Ancient descriptions speak of enormous flames and polished reflective mirrors, allowing the beacon to reach ships many kilometers away. According to Jung, humanity constantly tries to extend light, not only physically, but spiritually. We build lamps, towers, guiding symbols, because somewhere deep inside, we fear darkness. Not merely darkness on the sea, but the darkness of loneliness, chaos, and losing direction within life itself, perhaps. That is why the Lighthouse of Alexandria felt so powerful. It touched one of humanity's oldest fears. Imagine an exhausted sailor after days upon open water, hands rough from rope, eyes strained from staring into darkness, night falling across endless waves. Then suddenly, the light of Pharos appears, and in that moment, the beacon is no longer merely light. It becomes survival, hope, and the feeling that somewhere, humanity still waits for your return. According to Jung, people cannot live without symbols that guide them. Within the unconscious, we are always searching for a lamp, a star, or a meaning, capable of leading us through darkness. Perhaps that is why the image of a lighthouse still moves humanity today. But the Lighthouse of Alexandria was not merely emotional symbolism, it was also the center of commerce, power, and imperial ambition. Alexandria became one of the greatest ports of the ancient world. Ships arrived from Greece, Egypt, Persia, and distant civilizations across the Mediterranean. According to Jung, every great wonder possesses multiple layers of meaning. A lighthouse is never merely practical. It is also a declaration. This is the center of civilization. Perhaps every empire longs to create something vast enough to force the world to notice it. Because power survives not only through armies, but through symbols. And Pharos became Alexandria's ultimate symbol. Imagine entering the city during its height, hearing merchants bargaining, wagon wheels rolling across stone, sailors shouting from crowded docks, the air filled with spices, papyrus, olive oil, and countless languages blending together. According to Jung, port cities possess profound symbolic importance. They are places where civilizations meet, ideas, travel, and humanity learns the world is larger than home itself. Perhaps the Lighthouse of Alexandria illuminated more than the sea. Perhaps it illuminated its entire age. What is fascinating is this. The word Pharos, the island's name, eventually became the common word for lighthouse in many languages. According to Jung, when a name transforms into language itself, it has transcended material existence. Perhaps Pharos stopped being merely a structure. It became an idea, guidance, safety, and light within darkness. There is something beautiful in that transformation. A tower of stone, ultimately surviving longest within language and imagination. But then, like every wonder, time slowly began speaking. Earthquakes shook Alexandria. Walls cracked. The Great Tower gradually collapsed over centuries. According to Jung, no material symbol is truly eternal. Even monuments created to resist darkness must eventually face the silence of time. Perhaps that is what makes the story of Pharos so sad. A structure that once guided the world eventually vanished from its own horizon. Imagine Alexandria after the lighthouse disappeared. The sea still there, waves still reaching the shore, ships still sailing, but the light that guided humanity for centuries gone forever. According to Jung, people often realize the value of light only after it disappears. Not only physical light, but also love, faith, and the things that once made us feel safe. Perhaps that is why lost wonders affect us so deeply. They remind us everything beautiful is fragile. Yet strangely, even though the lighthouse of Alexandria no longer exists, its image survives. According to Jung, what endures longest is never stone, it is symbolism, and the lighthouse became an eternal symbol of hope, guidance, and light within darkness. Imagine a quiet Mediterranean night long ago, moonlight trembling across black water. Far away, the flame atop Pharos, burning slowly against the wind. A distant ship seeing that light and knowing home is near. Perhaps that was the lighthouse's deepest gift to humanity. Not merely engineering, not merely power, but the profoundly human feeling that, no matter how vast and frightening the darkness may become, somewhere, a light is still waiting to guide us home. The new 7 Wonders of 2007. One of the most fascinating things about humanity is this. In every age, we try to decide what deserves to be called great. Long ago, those decisions belonged to kings, scholars, and powerful empires. But then the world changed. The internet appeared. Airplanes made continents feel closer together. A person in Asia could suddenly admire a monument in South America through a glowing screen late at night. And for the first time in history, it was no longer rulers choosing the wonders of the world, but millions of ordinary people. According to Carl Gustav Jung, humanity has always needed collective symbols. Symbols help people feel that they belong to the same world, that they share wonder together, and that they can look towards something larger than themselves. Perhaps the new 7 Wonders campaign of 2007 was not merely a global vote, it was a sign that the modern world was trying to create new shared symbols for all humanity. If we return mentally to the ancient world, the original 7 Wonders were written about by Greeks living around the Mediterranean. They chose monuments they knew, places they had heard stories about, or wonders existing inside the boundaries of their world. According to Jung, human beings always see reality through the psychological map of their culture. For the ancient Greeks, the world mainly consisted of the Mediterranean, Egypt, Asia Minor, and neighboring civilizations. Everything beyond those horizons barely existed inside the collective imagination. But by 2007, everything had changed. For the first time, someone in Brazil, India, Japan, Egypt, or Vietnam could participate in the same worldwide vote. According to Jung, modern technology does not merely change communication, it transforms humanity's collective unconscious itself. Because for the first time, billions of people began sharing one symbolic global space. We saw the same images, heard the same stories, shared cultural symbols beyond national borders. Perhaps the new 7 Wonders reflected exactly that era, an age where memory, imagery, and wonder no longer belonged to one civilization alone. Imagine millions of people sitting before screens around the world that year, each person in a different corner of Earth. One person choosing the Great Wall of China as a symbol of history, another moved by the Taj Mahal because of its love story, someone else voting for Machu Picchu because of its beauty rising through clouds and mountains. According to Jung, human beings never choose symbols through logic alone. We choose through emotion. A monument becomes a wonder, not simply because of size or engineering, but because it makes people feel awe, emotion, or connection to something deeper than themselves. Perhaps that is why the global vote created so much debate. Because the question, what deserves to be called a wonder, is not really a question about architecture alone. It is a question about values, memory, and how humanity sees itself. According to Jung, every age creates symbols reflecting its soul. The ancient world admired power, gods, and immortality. But the modern world? Perhaps today we search for connection, cultural identity, and the feeling of belonging to one shared humanity. There is something deeply beautiful about the fact that a person on one side of Earth can feel emotional before a monument they have never physically visited. It shows that true symbols can transcend language and borders. If we look more deeply, the new Seven Wonders also reflected a major shift in human history. Long ago, symbolic authority belonged to rulers, empires, and elites. But in 2007, millions of ordinary people participated in choosing together. According to Jung, this reflected a transformation in symbolic power. Modern humanity no longer wants simply to be told what deserves admiration. We want to decide for ourselves what moves the heart. Perhaps that is why the vote mattered more than it first appeared. It reflected a world where individual voices, mass media, and technology were reshaping humanity's collective memory. But at the same time, it opened another fascinating question. What truly is a wonder? Is it the largest, the most beautiful, the oldest, or the most famous? According to Jung, what humanity considers sacred changes across time. One monument may appear to one person as only stone, yet become a profound symbol for someone else. Perhaps no perfect list could ever exist for everyone, because each human being carries different symbols inside themselves. One person feels moved by pyramids because of permanence, another by the Taj Mahal because of love, another by Machu Picchu, rising through mist and mountains. According to Jung, what allows symbols to survive is not objective perfection. It is their ability to touch the unconscious mind. And perhaps all true wonders share exactly that quality. They make life feel larger than ordinary existence. Imagine the modern world looking at these monuments today. Millions of photographs shared instantly. Airplanes carrying travelers from every continent. The internet, transforming ancient structures into global symbols within seconds. According to Jung, imagery in the modern age possesses enormous psychological power. Human beings now live within an ocean of symbols. Every day we are surrounded by monuments, defaces, and cultural imagery flowing endlessly across glowing screens. Perhaps the new Seven Wonders also reflected a desire to find something real within a world filled with fleeting images. A monument surviving hundreds or thousands of years creates a feeling of stability inside an age changing too quickly. But then, like everything in history, even that list is not eternal. Over time, new wonders may emerge. Different monuments may become beloved. New symbols will appear. According to Jung, this is completely natural. Human beings always create new symbols to reflect the soul of their own era. Perhaps what matters most is not which monument won the vote, but the fact that humanity still continues searching for something beautiful enough to admire together. Imagine a quiet night across Earth, the wonders still standing beneath moonlight. Christ, the Redeemer, with open arms above the mountains. Petra glowing red within the desert. Chichen Itza silent beneath a sky full of stars. Each monument carrying its own history, its own memory, and its own spirit, yet all of them telling the same story, that humanity, in every age, continues trying to create something large enough to resist the forgetting power of time, and perhaps that is the true wonder. Not merely stone, not merely architecture, but humanity's ability to create symbols powerful enough to make the entire world pause and feel awe together. Great Wall of China, a defensive system stretching across centuries. Among all the structures humanity has ever built, few reflect the fear and survival instinct of a civilization more clearly than the Great Wall of China, because from far away, the wall resembles an enormous stone dragon, winding endlessly through mountains, deserts, plains, and the cold northern wilderness. But if we look more deeply, it is not merely a wall, it is the anxiety of dynasties, the dream of safety, and the trace of millions of lives spent building a boundary between inside and outside. According to Carl Gustav Jung, human beings possess a deep need to create psychological borders. We build walls, fences, laws, and invisible emotional boundaries to feel protected from chaos. Perhaps the Great Wall became the greatest physical expression of that need in human history. Imagine returning to ancient China, cold wind moving across northern mountains. Beyond the horizon stretched vast grasslands, where nomadic cavalry could move with terrifying speed. To Chinese dynasties, the north was never merely a direction. It represented uncertainty, instability, and danger that could arrive at any moment. According to Jung, every civilization creates an image of the darkness beyond, a symbolic space representing the unknown, the threat, and primal fear. Perhaps the Great Wall was born directly from that feeling. Yet what makes the wall fascinating is this: it was never one single structure. It became a vast network of fortifications, towers, military passes, and defensive systems, constructed over centuries by multiple dynasties. According to Jung, this reflects a profound truth. Human beings never stop trying to build security. Every generation continues the work of the previous one. Every dynasty adds its own fears, its own ambitions, and its own methods of controlling uncertainty. Perhaps the wall was not built from stone alone. It was built from fear, accumulated across centuries. Imagine standing atop the wall during a winter morning, mist covering distant mountains, cold wind moving across ancient stone steps, the stairways stretching endlessly toward the horizon. There is something both majestic and lonely in that image. According to Jung, gigantic structures always make human beings feel small before history, because standing among them, we suddenly realize a single human life is far too short to create something like this alone. Perhaps that is why the Great Wall affects people so deeply. It was not the work of one ruler. It became the trace of countless generations continuing one another's labor. Imagine ancient workers carrying stones across mountains, digging earth beneath burning summers, enduring freezing winters. Many would never return home. According to Jung, behind every great symbol exists the shadow of suffering. Humanity remembers glory, scale, and triumph, but often forgets bleeding hands, exhausted bodies, and ordinary lives crushed beneath the weight of monumental ambition. Perhaps that is why the Great Wall feels both glorious and sorrowful at the same time. In many Chinese legends, the wall represents not only strength, but also tears, separation, and sacrifice. According to Jung, every civilization contains this contradiction. Humanity's greatest achievements are often built at enormous human cost. If we continue walking along the wall, watchtowers appear across mountain peaks. During the day, smoke signals carried warnings across great distances. At night, fires burned like stars stretched across the frontier. According to Jung, fire symbolizes vigilance, consciousness, and connection between people inside darkness. Perhaps those towers were more than military structures. They were reminders that somewhere in lonely mountains, human beings remained awake, protecting an entire civilization. What makes the Great Wall especially complex is this: it was not built only to stop invasion, it also controlled trade, borders, and the movement of people between different worlds. According to Jung, every wall contains two meanings simultaneously. It both protects and separates. Perhaps all boundaries in life work the same way. We create walls to feel safe. Yet sometimes, those same walls also isolate us from one another. If we look more broadly, the Great Wall is not merely a military structure. It symbolizes humanity's attempt to control chaos itself. Human beings always want to prevent danger, predict the future, and create stability within uncertainty. According to Jung, this is a deeply natural psychological need. Yet he also believed no wall can completely eliminate fear, because true fear does not only exist outside us, it exists within us as well. Perhaps that is why the wall feels both powerful and melancholic. It stretches thousands of kilometers, yet still could not stop time itself. Dynasties rose and vanished. Wars continued. Human anxiety survived. According to Jung, every structure humanity builds against chaos must eventually face the same truth. Nothing is completely permanent. Yet this does not diminish the wall's meaning. If anything, impermanence makes it more moving. Imagine standing atop the Great Wall at night. Cold wind moving across ancient stones. Stars stretching endlessly above silent mountains. No more soldiers. No smoke signals. No distant horses crossing the steppe. Only the stillness of history. According to Jung, ruins move us because they mirror our own inner lives. We also build emotional walls to protect ourselves, to hide wounds, to avoid pain. Yet sometimes, those walls leave us isolated. Perhaps that is why the Great Wall touches humanity so deeply. It is not only Chinese history, it is a symbol of one of humanity's oldest instincts, the desire to feel safe within a world that can never become completely safe. And perhaps what truly makes the Great Wall a wonder is not only its size or length, but the fact that millions of human beings across hundreds of years joined together to build a gigantic symbol from fear, hope, and the longing to protect what they loved. If we stare long enough at that stone dragon stretching across mountains, we begin to understand something profound. Every civilization builds walls in order to survive, but what truly carries humanity through history may not be walls of stone at all. Perhaps it is the ability to keep the fire of civilization alive together against the cold winds of time. Petra, the city carved into stone. Among all the wonders humanity has ever created, few places make people feel as though they are stepping into an ancient dream more than Petra. A city not built upon the earth in the ordinary way, but carved directly into stone itself, as though its people did not merely live among mountains, but were speaking with the very heart of the desert. According to Carl Gustav Jung, the places that move human beings most deeply are often the ones that blur the boundary between nature, imagination, and the soul. Perhaps Petra feels so emotionally powerful because it does not resemble a city that was constructed. It feels like a secret discovered inside the rock itself. Imagine beginning the journey to Petra more than 2,000 years ago, crossing vast Middle Eastern deserts, wind carrying red dust across the sand, sunlight stretching across dry cliffs, the silence so immense that only footsteps and wind echo through stone. Then suddenly, before you appears a narrow canyon, a twisting stone passage between towering sandstone walls, light falling only in thin ribbons from above. According to Jung, narrow passages in mythology and ancient architecture often symbolize the journey into the unconscious. we leave behind the familiar world to enter a place containing mystery, transformation, and the sacred. Perhaps the entrance to Petra feels so mystical because it awakens that ancient archetype inside the human mind. If you continue deeper into the canyon, suddenly the rock walls open, and before you rises a rose-red monument carved directly into the cliff face. Columns, facades, intricate stone patterns glowing beneath desert sunlight like an illusion. It is the moment that still causes many modern travelers to fall silent when they first see Petra. According to Jung, human beings are always fascinated by what feels hidden. A city emerging from stone creates the sensation that we have rediscovered a forgotten memory sleeping inside humanity's collective unconscious. Perhaps Petra is not merely a city. It feels like an ancient dream preserved by the desert itself. What makes Petra truly extraordinary is this: the Nabateans, the people who built it, did not fight nature in the ordinary sense. They learned how to live with it. According to Jung, civilizations that endure often do not attempt to dominate nature completely. They learn to understand its rhythms, and Petra became a beautiful example of that wisdom. The desert surrounding Petra is harsh and dry, yet the Nabateans created canals, dams, reservoirs, and sophisticated water systems. They controlled flash floods, mountain runoff, and every precious drop of water in the desert. According to Jung, water always carries profound psychological meaning. It symbolizes life, the unconscious, and the nourishing energy of the soul. Perhaps what makes Petra miraculous is not only architecture carved into stone, but the fact that human beings brought water into a place where life seemed nearly impossible. Imagine Petra during its golden age, camel caravans entering the city, the scent of spices, incense, and fabrics from the east filling the air, merchants from Arabia, Egypt, Syria, and Rome meeting among red stone streets in the desert. According to Jung, ancient trade routes carried more than goods. They transported ideas, myths, symbols, and different ways of understanding reality. Perhaps Petra flourished because it stood between civilizations. It became a kind of psychological crossroads for the ancient world. Every caravan passing through left behind stories, beliefs, and traces of culture. If we walk among Petra's carved monuments, we notice they contain both Greek elegance and Eastern spirit, while still carrying the soul of the desert itself. According to Jung, when civilizations meet, they do not disappear. They merge to create new symbols. Perhaps Petra feels so beautiful because it does not belong entirely to any single world. It is a meeting place between stone and water, desert and life, solitude and connection. What makes Petra even more mysterious is that the entire city remained hidden among mountains. According to Jung, human beings are naturally drawn toward hidden places because the unconscious associates secrecy with sacredness, ancient wisdom, and the deepest layers of the soul. Perhaps Petra feels mystical, not only because of its beauty, but because it creates the sensation of a city that never wished to be found too easily. Imagine standing inside Petra at sunset, the cliffs changing color beneath shifting light, from pale rose to deep crimson, then purple shadows as evening arrives. According to Jung, colors in nature affect the human psyche profoundly, especially Petra's red earth tones, colors that remind us of blood, life, sunlight, and Earth's primal origins. Perhaps that is why Petra feels simultaneously alive and ancient, as though it belongs to another age entirely. But like every wonder, Petra could not resist history forever. Trade routes shifted, earthquakes damaged the city. Gradually, Petra was abandoned. According to Jung, what humanity forgets never truly disappears. It simply sinks deeper into collective memory. and Petra slept beneath the desert for centuries. There is something deeply sad, yet strangely beautiful about that image. A city once filled with voices, camels, merchants, and flowing water, slowly becoming silent, leaving behind only desert wind, sunlight, and stone facades staring into stillness. According to Jung, ruins affect us because they mirror our own inner lives. We too carry cities within ourselves that were once full of life, forgotten dreams, memories, parts of ourselves once vibrant, before time covered them in silence. Perhaps Petra moves us so deeply because it resembles the memory of the human soul itself, a place once overflowing with life, yet still beautiful even in silence. Imagine walking through Petra at night, stars covering the desert sky, candlelight reflecting softly across red stone. No crowds, no merchants, only wind whispering through the canyon. In that moment, Petra no longer feels like a city. It feels like history itself whispering softly through the dark. According to Jung, truly sacred places always make people feel small, quiet, and connected to something beyond time. Perhaps Petra is such a place, not only because of architecture, not only because of its astonishing water systems, but because it tells humanity something profoundly important, that even in the harshest landscapes, human beings can still create life, that within the deserts of fear and loneliness, we continue trying to build a city, a source of water, and a refuge for the soul. And perhaps that is Petra's greatest wonder, not the red stone walls themselves, but the deeply human ability to transform a place that seemed impossible for life into somewhere filled with memory, beauty, and hope enduring across thousands of years. Colosseum, the theater of an empire. One of the strangest truths about humanity is this: we fear violence, yet we are also fascinated by it. Since ancient times, people have gathered to watch combat, witness victory, and feel the terrible thrill of life and death balanced on a single moment. According to Carl Gustav Jung, deep inside the unconscious exists the shadow, the primitive part of human nature containing fear, aggression, and fascination with power and survival. Perhaps the Colosseum became one of the greatest symbols of the Roman Empire, not only because of architecture, but because it openly revealed both the light and the darkness inside the soul of its civilization. Imagine returning to Rome nearly 2,000 years ago, morning sunlight spilling across stone streets, crowds pouring toward an enormous structure at the center of the empire, voices echoing, footsteps thundering, vendors shouting among the masses. Then suddenly before you rises the Colosseum, a colossal arena emerging from the very heart of Rome itself. According to Jung, humanity's greatest structures become psychological mirrors of the civilizations that created them. Pyramids reflect immortality, temples reflect faith, but the Colosseum perhaps reflected the desire to control crowds, display power, and transform collective emotion into political force. If you stood before the arena during its height, you would see towering stone levels, endless arches, and human crowds moving like waves. Holding more than 50,000 spectators, the Colosseum resembled a city within a city. According to Jung, immense scale creates powerful psychological effects. When individuals stand inside vast crowds, their personal identity begins dissolving into collective emotion. People stop feeling like isolated individuals. They become part of the crowd, the roar, and the overwhelming energy of mass emotion. Perhaps Roman emperors understood this extremely well, and the Colosseum was designed to orchestrate exactly those emotions. If we enter the arena, its organization becomes astonishing. Corridors, stairways, entrances, everything arranged with extraordinary efficiency. Tens of thousands of people could enter, sit, and leave rapidly. According to Jung, Architectural order often reflects humanity's desire for control. Rome did not merely build a place of entertainment. It built a machine for organizing collective emotion, a place where power, excitement, and fear could be directed almost like ritual itself. Above the seating area, a massive fabric canopy once shaded spectators. Sailors were employed to operate ropes and pulleys controlling the awning. According to Jung, powerful civilizations rule not only through armies, they rule through experience. The Colosseum made Roman citizens feel that they belonged to a magnificent empire, that they participated in something greater than themselves, and that Rome's power surrounded them completely. Then, the games begin. Crowds erupt into thunderous sound, iron gates open. A gladiator steps into the light. According to Jung, the gladiator touches one of humanity's deepest archetypes, the warrior. Human beings have always been fascinated by individuals confronting a danger, fate, and death itself. Gladiators fought not only for survival, they fought beneath the gaze of an entire civilization. There is something both tragic and strangely heroic in that image. Imagine a gladiator standing alone in the arena, tens of thousands watching. Above him, the blue Roman sky. Below him, hot sand stained with blood and dust. Perhaps he was a prisoner, a slave, or a poor man searching for freedom. Yet in that moment, every eye in the empire turned toward him. According to Jung, human beings long deeply to be seen and recognized. Even under terrible conditions, we still want our lives to matter. Perhaps that is why gladiators became legends. They reflected a deeply human desire to be remembered, even if only briefly. But the Colosseum contained more than gladiators. Wild animal hunts filled the arena. Lions, bears, elephants, exotic creatures brought from across the empire. According to Jung, displaying wild beasts reflected humanity's ancient desire to dominate nature itself. Rome wished to show the world that not only people, but distant lands and untamed creatures also existed beneath imperial power. Perhaps the Colosseum became the grandest stage for that dream of domination. Yet at a deeper level, it also revealed the shadow of Roman civilization. According to Jung, every society contains darkness it attempts to hide. Its violence, cruelty, and hunger for control. Inside the Colosseum, that shadow was not hidden. It became entertainment. Perhaps that is why modern people feel both fascinated and disturbed by this monument. We do not merely see ancient Rome there. We see the primitive instincts still living inside humanity itself. Imagine evening falling after the games, crowds leaving the arena, the roar fading into silence, sand covered in footprints, sunset touching empty stone seats. There is something profoundly sad in the silence after such overwhelming noise. According to Jung, extreme emotion eventually dissolves, leaving behind an emptiness deep within the human psyche. Perhaps that is why places once filled with cheering become so haunting when silent. Then time passes. The Roman Empire declines. The games end. Earthquakes damage the structure. Stone is removed to build churches and new cities. According to Jung, every symbol of power must eventually face the same truth. No empire is eternal. Yet, strangely, the Colosseum still survives. Not as before, but enough for humanity to remember. If we stand inside the arena today, there are no longer gladiators, wild beasts, or roaring crowds. Only ancient stone, open sky above, and the quiet footsteps of travelers echoing through the ruins. According to Jung, ruins move us because they reveal everything once intensely alive eventually becomes memory. Perhaps the Colosseum is no longer a symbol of Roman victory. It has become a lesson about humanity itself, about the hunger for power, the desire for spectacle, the instinct toward violence, and the fragility of civilizations. If we stare long enough at those ancient stones, we begin to understand. What makes the Colosseum a wonder is not architecture alone. It is the way it reflects a profoundly human truth, that inside every civilization exists both the light of intelligence and the shadow of instinct. And perhaps true maturity does not come from denying that darkness, but from learning to face it calmly, so we may understand the human soul more deeply. Machu Picchu, the city above the clouds. There are places in the world that make human beings feel as though they are stepping into a dream, not because they are luxurious, but because they possess a quiet kind of beauty, as though they have existed outside of time for centuries. And perhaps Machu Picchu is one of those places, a city suspended between clouds, mountains, mist, and the silence of the Andes. According to Carl Gustav Jung, human beings are always drawn toward places that exist at the threshold between heaven and earth, the visible and invisible, life and dream. Perhaps Machu Picchu touches the human soul so deeply because it exists exactly on that boundary. Imagine beginning the journey to Machu Picchu centuries ago. Mountain roads winding beside cliffs hidden in fog, cold, thin air, clouds drifting low across the earth, bird calls echoing somewhere in the Andes. Then suddenly, through the white mist, a stone city appears, not enormous in the way other empires once built their monuments. Yet there is something profoundly still, almost sacred in its beauty. According to Jung, the places that move people most deeply are not merely beautiful in appearance. They awaken the feeling that we are standing before something beyond ordinary life. Perhaps Machu Picchu creates that sensation because it feels like a hidden world floating above the clouds. If we look closely at its stone walls, we see enormous blocks fitted together so perfectly that not even a blade can pass between them. No cement, no modern machines, only kanshi, human hands, and astonishing patience. According to Jung, humanity constantly searches for order within chaos. When we fit stones together with perfect harmony, we attempt to create a feeling of stability, balance, and peace with the world itself. Perhaps that is why Inca architecture feels so emotionally powerful. It does not try to dominate nature. It blends into nature. The structures of Machu Picchu do not stand apart from the mountains. They seem to grow directly from the Andes themselves. According to Jung, civilizations with deep spiritual awareness rarely see themselves as masters of nature. They see themselves as part of it. Perhaps the Inca did not build Machu Picchu to conquer the mountains. They built it to live in harmony with them. Imagine standing upon the terraces at sunrise, mist drifting slowly across deep green slopes, morning light touching ancient stone, terraces flowing along the mountains like soft waves. According to Jung, stairways and terraces in ancient symbolism often represent inner growth, step by step, slowly, ascending. Perhaps the terraces of Machu Picchu reflect that same journey. They did not merely prevent erosion, preserve water, and create agricultural microclimates. They revealed humanity's ability to transform difficult landscapes into places capable of sustaining life. According to Jung, one of humanity's most beautiful abilities is this: to create beauty and order even under harsh conditions. Perhaps Machu Picchu stands as a quiet monument to that truth. Imagine life there during its flourishing years. Inca people walking narrow stone pathways, smoke rising gently into cold mountain air, ceremonies unfolding beneath the Andean sun, everything moving according to the rhythm of nature, sunlight, seasons, and fog, and mountain water. According to Jung, ancient people often lived closer to symbols than modern humanity. They felt mountains were sacred, the sun was life itself, and nature possessed spirit. Perhaps Machu Picchu was never merely a city. It was a place where human beings tried to live close to the most sacred realities they could feel. But eventually, everything changed. The Inca Empire declined, the Spanish arrived in South America, and somehow, Machu Picchu nearly disappeared from the outside world. According to Jung, certain things within the human soul never truly vanish. They retreat deeper into the unconscious, waiting to be rediscovered. Perhaps Machu Picchu became like that. A city sleeping silently among clouds and mountains for centuries, no longer filled with footsteps, rituals, or bustling life. Only stone, fog, and the silence of time. There is something deeply sad, yet strangely beautiful about that image. A city once overflowing with life, gradually becoming forgotten memory. According to Jung, human beings are deeply moved by things that are rediscovered, because somewhere within the unconscious, we continue hoping that the beautiful things we lost still exist somewhere. When the modern world rediscovered Machu Picchu in the 20th century, many people felt as though humanity had uncovered a surviving fragment of an ancient dream. Imagine an explorer seeing Machu Picchu for the first time after centuries. Clouds parting over the mountains, stone walls emerging from wild nature. Perhaps that moment felt like rediscovering a sleeping memory of humanity itself. According to Jung, places like Machu Picchu awaken the archetype of the lost paradise, a place peaceful, separated from the world, close to the sky, and belonging to another age. Perhaps that is why so many people feel an unusual calm when looking upon Machu Picchu, not only because it is beautiful, but because it touches a hidden longing, the desire to escape the noise of the modern world. Imagine standing atop Machu Picchu in the late afternoon, clouds drifting across mountain peaks, cold wind moving softly over ancient stones. No modern city sounds, only mountains, sky, and silence, almost sacred in its stillness. According to Jung, silence is where human beings hear the deepest parts of their own souls. Perhaps Machu Picchu remains so powerful in humanity's imagination because it offers exactly that feeling, a feeling that is increasingly rare, that somewhere in this fast and noisy world, there still exists a place where time slows down, a place reminding humanity that we do not live only for power, victory, or control. We also need a harmony, connection with nature, and quiet spaces where the soul can rest. And perhaps that is Machu Picchu's greatest wonder. Not only its flawless stonework, not only the city among the clouds, but the fact that, after centuries of silence and abandonment, it can still make modern people pause, breathe more slowly, and remember that somewhere deep inside the human soul, we still long to live closer to the original peace of the world. Taj Mahal, love, transformed into marble. Among all the things humanity has tried to resist, perhaps nothing is more heartbreaking than the attempt to resist loss. We know time will pass, people will grow old, and those we love will eventually leave this world. Yet even knowing this, the human heart still tries to preserve something, a memory, a face, a feeling that once meant everything. According to Carl Gustav Jung, love is one of the most powerful forces within the human soul. It causes us to move beyond the small self, protect what is fragile, and long to transform emotion into something that can outlive a human life. Perhaps Taj Mahal was born from exactly that longing, a grief transformed into white marble, a love turned into architecture. Imagine returning to 17th century India, morning mist drifting above the Yamuna River, first light touching a vast white dome, the entire structure so calm it seems almost suspended in the sky. Perhaps many people seeing the Taj Mahal for the first time share the same feeling. It does not resemble a building, it resembles a dream. According to Jung, the most powerful symbols always feel as though they transcend ordinary reality. They make people feel quiet, softened, and connected to something deep within the soul. Perhaps that is why the Taj Mahal has moved humanity for centuries. If we look into its history, the Taj Mahal was commissioned by Shah Jahan in memory of the woman he deeply loved, Mumtaz Mahal. After her death, the emperor ordered the construction of a tomb unlike anything the Mughal Empire had ever seen. According to Jung, when human beings face loss, we often try to materialize memory. We preserve letters, photographs, objects, and places connected to those who are gone, because we fear that if everything disappears, love itself may disappear with time. Perhaps the Taj Mahal became humanity's grandest attempt to say to time itself, "This love will not vanish." If we pass through the Great Gate of the Taj Mahal, the entire structure appears in nearly perfect symmetry. Pools reflecting the white dome, gardens divided into peaceful geometric lines, everything creating a sensation of balance, elegance, and softness like poetry carved into stone. According to Jung, the human soul constantly searches for harmony. Especially in grief, we long to create beauty and order against the chaos within us. Perhaps the Taj Mahal feels so beautiful because it transforms sorrow into harmony. One of the most extraordinary things about the monument is this: its marble changes color with light and weather. At dawn, it glows pale pink. At noon, it becomes brilliant white. At night, beneath moonlight, it turns silver blue and almost unreal. According to Jung, color and light are deeply connected to unconscious emotion. A structure that changes with light creates the sensation that it is alive. Perhaps that is why the Taj Mahal never appears exactly the same twice. It changes like memory itself, like love itself. Some days memory feels vivid, other days it drifts like mist. If we move closer, we see intricate floral inlays across the marble walls. Artisans used jade, agate, turquoise, and countless precious stones to create delicate flowers within white marble. According to Jung, humanity's willingness to devote decades to beauty reveals something profound. We constantly try to make emotion visible. Love is invisible. Longing is invisible. Yet human beings endlessly try to paint them, write about them, and build them into monuments. Perhaps the Taj Mahal is the most beautiful proof of that human desire. If we study the calligraphy along its walls and gateways, we notice something remarkable. The letters gradually increase in size as they rise higher, so from the ground, they appear perfectly balanced. According to Jung, human beings are fascinated by the illusion of perfection. We know life itself is imperfect, yet we continue creating art, music, architecture, and beautiful moments to move closer to perfection, even briefly. Perhaps the Taj Mahal feels so emotionally powerful because it resembles a perfect moment preserved inside an imperfect world. Imagine the artisans working year after year, stone carving echoing beneath the Indian sun, white marble dust drifting through the air. Many knowing they might never live to see the monument completed. Yet they continued. According to Jung, humanity possesses a strange and beautiful ability. We willingly dedicate our lives to things greater than ourselves. A cathedral, a symphony, a garden, or a tomb built for love. Perhaps all the greatest wonders are created from that deeply human impulse. But eventually, time continues moving. The Mughal Empire declines. Those who once walked its palaces disappear. Generations pass like wind. According to Jung, nothing material truly defeats time, yet that does not mean everything vanishes, because certain emotions outlive the civilizations that created them. And perhaps love is one of those emotions. Imagine standing before the Taj Mahal beneath moonlight, silver light spreading across white marble, the world becoming strangely quiet, the distant river flowing softly through darkness. There is something peaceful there, yet also deeply melancholy. According to Jung, the most beautiful symbols always contain a gentle sadness, because they remind us everything beautiful is fragile. Perhaps the Taj Mahal moves humanity not only because it is beautiful, but because it reflects a profoundly human fear, the fear of losing those we love, and at the same time, it reflects a profoundly human hope that love may outlive time through memory and beauty. If we gaze long enough at the white dome beneath the night sky, we begin to understand the Taj Mahal is not merely a tomb. It is a poem in marble, a dream made from light, and a soft whisper spoken to time itself. A whisper saying that although human beings are temporary, we still try to love in ways that feel infinite. And perhaps that is the Taj Mahal's greatest wonder. Not only marble, engineering, or architectural perfection, but the fact that a fragile human emotion like love was transformed into something beautiful enough to make the entire world fall silent in awe for centuries. Christ the Redeemer, Rio's global symbol of hope. In this vast and uncertain world, human beings have always quietly searched for something that can make them feel protected. A gentle gaze, open arms, a symbol reminding us that even when life feels chaotic and lonely, there is still somewhere a place of forgiveness, peace, and hope. According to Carl Gustav Jung, deep within the collective unconscious, humanity carries the image of the protector, a symbol representing compassion, salvation, and the longing to rise above suffering. Perhaps that is why Christ the Redeemer is not merely a giant statue. It is a feeling, an image that has entered the imagination of the entire world. If we imagine arriving in Rio de Janeiro early in the morning, the sun slowly rises above the ocean. Thin mist drifts across green mountains. The city has not fully awakened yet. And then, atop Mount Corcovado, a colossal figure appears among the clouds, arms stretched wide, a peaceful face, silently watching over the city below. There is something very different about seeing Christ the Redeemer from afar. It does not feel overwhelming like ancient fortresses or imperial palaces. It feels gentler. According to Jung, the strongest symbols do not always inspire fear. Sometimes they make us feel comforted. Perhaps that is why millions of people across the world feel emotional when they see this image, not only because of its size, but because those open arms awaken a very deep need within the human soul, to be accepted, to be forgiven, and to be embraced. If we look more closely, the statue stands atop the mountain, as though connecting to sky, clouds, and the city below. According to Jung, mountains in ancient symbolism have always represented connection with the divine. For centuries, human beings built temples and sacred statues upon the highest places, as though the closer we moved toward the sky, the closer we came to something beyond ourselves. Perhaps Christ the Redeemer was placed atop Corcovado not only for the scenery, but because humanity has always wanted to place its hope at the highest point possible. Imagine standing beneath the statue on a windy day, clouds passing across the stone face, light constantly shifting across the surface. At one moment, the statue stands clear beneath blue sky. At another, it disappears into fog like a dream. According to Jung, images that exist halfway between reality and mystery possess enormous psychological power. They make human beings feel small, silent, and connected to something deep within themselves. Perhaps that is why many people say nothing when standing before the monument. They simply look and remain quiet. One strange thing is this: despite its peaceful appearance, the statue is frequently struck by lightning. Powerful storms passing over Rio sometimes damage its hands or head. According to Jung, this carries profound symbolic meaning. Human beings constantly try to create things that feel eternal and sacred. Yet nature continues reminding us that everything in the physical world is fragile. Perhaps the image of Christ standing amid storms, enduring lightning and time, makes the symbol feel even closer to humanity. Because we live that way too. We also suffer, endure, and try to rise again after the storms of life. Inside the statue, there is a small chapel hidden quietly within. Soft light, deep silence. According to Jung, human beings always need sacred spaces, places where the soul can separate itself from the noise of the world. And perhaps the most beautiful thing is this: inside a gigantic symbol seen by millions, there exists a very small and quiet room. Perhaps that is also an image of human beings themselves. Outwardly, we may appear strong, busy, or defined by social roles, but somewhere deep inside, we still carry a small inner chapel, a place holding memories, pain, prayers, and the things we never speak aloud. Imagine Rio at night. City lights stretching beneath the mountain like a sea of stars, the distant sound of waves moving through darkness, and above everything, the statue remains standing silently against the sky. According to Jung, the silence of great symbols often makes human beings reflect more deeply than words ever could. Christ the Redeemer does not need movement. It does not need speech. It simply exists, and millions of people bring their emotions to it. Some see faith, hope, or salvation. Others see loneliness, longing, or the desire for peace. Perhaps every truly powerful symbol functions like a psychological mirror. It reflects the deepest things hidden within the viewer. Over time, the image of Christ the Redeemer became a global symbol. Cinema, postcards, and photography carried it across the world. There is something fascinating about the fact that a religious monument in Brazil became familiar even to people who have never set foot in Rio. According to Jung, a symbol transcends cultural boundaries when it touches the collective unconscious, the emotions and archetypes shared by all human beings. Perhaps that is why the image of open arms became so universal, because regardless of language, religion, or nationality, human beings everywhere understand the longing to feel loved and protected. If we gaze long enough at the statue's calm face, we begin to feel it represents something larger than religion itself. It represents the longing to find peace within an uncertain world. According to Jung, humanity's greatest journey is not conquering the outer world. It is reconciling with the inner one. Perhaps Christ the Redeemer has moved generations because it reminds humanity of that possibility. The possibility of forgiveness, gentleness, and opening the heart again even after suffering. Imagine standing beneath the monument at sunrise. Soft wind moving across the mountaintop, white clouds drifting slowly behind the outstretched arms. The silence so deep it almost feels possible to hear the heartbeat of the city below. And in that moment, we begin to understand, sometimes, what human beings need most is not power, victory, or greatness, but simply the feeling that, within this enormous world, we are not completely alone. And perhaps that is the true wonder of Christ the Redeemer, not merely its height, engineering, or mountaintop location, but the fact that a giant stone figure standing among clouds became a global symbol of hope, compassion, and humanity's deeply human need to hold one another through the storms of life. What do human beings build to be remembered? Perhaps, after traveling through pyramids buried in Egyptian sand, hanging gardens half lost in myth, Greek temples echoing with ancient footsteps, stone cities floating among Peruvian clouds, and silent monuments overlooking oceans and time, we begin to realize something. The wonders of the world were never merely architectural achievements. They were questions, ancient questions humanity has always quietly asked itself. Can a human life leave behind something that lasts longer than we do? According to Carl Gustav Jung, deep within the collective unconscious, human beings carry an enormous anxiety, the fear of impermanence. We know we will grow old, those we love will disappear, and everything eventually changes. Perhaps that is why humanity builds. We build cities, temples, statues, tombs, and enormous wonders, as though speaking to time itself. We were here. Imagine returning thousands of years into the past. In the Egyptian desert, people drag colossal stones beneath a burning sun. Elsewhere, within Maya rainforests, stone stairways rise toward the stars. Far away in Peru, a city of stone is fitted into mountainsides, as though it belongs to the clouds. According to Jung, every civilization leaves behind a central symbol, something reflecting what it believed mattered most. Some civilizations built to glorify gods, others built to demonstrate power, and some created beauty simply to preserve the memory of love. Yet beneath all these differences, every wonder shares the same longing to rise beyond the shortness of human life. Perhaps that is why humanity feels emotional when looking upon great wonders, because somewhere deep within ourselves, we want the same thing. We want to be remembered, to leave behind traces of ourselves, or at least to know our lives will not vanish completely when time passes. According to Jung, human beings do not live by survival alone. We live by meaning, and building monumental structures became one way humanity created collective meaning. If we look carefully at history, many wonders were built through suffering, exhausting labor, war, imperial ambition, and the obsession with immortality. There is something both beautiful and deeply sad about that truth, because even the greatest monuments cannot truly defeat time. According to Jung, this is humanity's greatest paradox. We know everything is fragile, yet we continue creating. Perhaps that is the true miracle. Not that wonders survive for thousands of years, but that human beings continue building even while knowing that someday everything may collapse. Imagine standing among the ruins of an ancient wonder at sunset, wind passing through broken columns, grass growing between stone steps once filled with footsteps. No more kings, ceremonies, or crowds, only silence. According to Jung, ruins move human beings so deeply because they reflect our inner lives. We too carry ruins inside ourselves, old memories, lost dreams, and former versions of ourselves that disappeared with time. Perhaps that is why ancient monuments feel so emotional. We are not only seeing history, we are seeing human life itself. And strangely, even when many wonders disappear, their stories remain. According to Jung, true symbols do not die when their physical forms vanish. They continue living through memory, mythology, art, and collective imagination. Perhaps the Hanging Gardens of Babylon never even existed exactly as legend described, yet humanity still remembers them. Because sometimes, what survives longest is not stone or metal, but story. Perhaps human beings do not truly fear death itself. We fear being forgotten. And so, we tell stories. We write history. We build wonders. We leave traces behind like whispers to the future. If we look at modern wonders today, we realize humanity has not changed very much from our ancestors thousands of years ago. We still want to build taller, larger, more beautiful, and more unforgettable things. According to Jung, technology changes, but the deepest needs of the human soul remain almost the same. We still search for meaning, long to belong to something greater than ourselves, and hope our lives leave some trace behind. Perhaps every wonder in the world is simply another version of the same prayer. Please, let this be remembered. But time continues moving. Empires collapse. Stone statues crack. Rain and wind erode walls once believed unbreakable. According to Jung, impermanence does not make life meaningless. Quite the opposite. Because things are fragile, beauty becomes precious. A flower is beautiful because it fades. A peaceful moment is beautiful because it cannot last forever. And perhaps wonders are beautiful for the same reason. They move us not only because they are grand, but because they remind us even things that appear eternal eventually fall asleep within history. Imagine humanity in the distant future. Perhaps people will someday look upon our modern cities the way we look upon Rome or Babylon today. Perhaps glass towers, steel bridges, and glowing screens will also become ruins. According to Jung, the only things that truly survive through generations are not material objects, but the things that touch the human soul, a story, a symbol, an emotion. Perhaps that is why the greatest wonders are not always the largest, but the places that make human beings stop, fall silent, and feel connected to something greater than themselves. If we close this journey on a quiet night, we can almost imagine wind moving across the Great Pyramid of Giza, waves beneath the ancient lighthouse of Alexandria, mist covering Machu Picchu, and moonlight touching the marble of the Taj Mahal. All those civilizations are now only memories. Yet those memories continue living within humanity's imagination. According to Jung, human beings are storytelling creatures. We survive through stories that help us understand who we are, where we came from, and what truly matters. Perhaps that is humanity's greatest wonder. Not stone, gold, or gigantic monuments, but the ability to use imagination, belief, and emotion to create things capable of touching the souls of people thousands of years in the future. And as the night grows quieter, we begin to understand that every wonder ultimately leads to the same gentle truth, that human beings, though small and temporary, have always tried to leave behind a little light of themselves within the endless flow of time. And after passing through the sand-covered pyramids of Egypt, the half-mythical gardens of Babylon, the stone temples of Greece, the cloud-covered cities of Peru, and the silent monuments gazing over oceans and centuries, perhaps we finally realize human history has never been only about war, power, or vanished empires. It is the story of the human heart. According to Jung, every civilization resembles a collective dream. Human beings build wonders not merely for shelter, but to place into stone, light, and time the deepest things hidden within the soul. Some wished to be remembered. Some longed to reach the divine. Some simply wanted to preserve love against the cruelty of time. And perhaps that is why these wonders still leave us speechless after thousands of years. Not because of how large they are, but because they remind us how small we are within the endless river of history. If we think deeply enough, every wonder eventually faces the same fate. Stone cracks, walls collapse, the names of kings slowly disappear. Even structures once believed eternal eventually fall silent beneath rain and time. Yet strangely, their stories continue living. According to Jung, what survives longest is not material, it is symbol. A symbol capable of touching the human soul can outlive the empire that created it. Perhaps that is why we still look toward these wonders today, not merely to memorize dates or names, but to feel something profoundly human echoing from the past, an ancient loneliness, a longing to be remembered, a belief that life can become meaningful through beauty, imagination, and connection. And perhaps that is also what makes night feel softer. As the world outside grows quieter, as the lights in the room begin to dim, we realize that human beings across thousands of years have never truly been so different. Ancient people also, worried about the future, feared losing the people they loved, longed to belong to something greater than themselves, and hoped their lives would leave behind some small trace in this enormous world. Perhaps that is why history moves us so deeply, because when we look into the past, we are really looking at ourselves. The The wonders of the world do not merely tell stories about kings or empires. They tell stories about human dreams, human fears, and humanity's fragile hope that beauty can survive forgetting. If you are now lying quietly in the darkness of night, perhaps somewhere out there, wind is still moving across the ancient stones of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Perhaps moonlight is still reflecting upon the white marble of the Taj Mahal. Perhaps mist is still drifting over the terraces of Machu Picchu. And somewhere far away in humanity's imagination, the lost wonders continue existing like dreams that never completely disappeared. According to Jung, human beings need symbols so the soul does not feel lost within the vastness of the universe. Perhaps the wonders were humanity's way of leaving a message for the future. We were here. We loved, feared, hoped, and dreamed just as you do today. And now, as this journey through humanity's wonders slowly comes to an end, allow your body to relax a little more deeply. Let your eyes grow heavier. Let the noise of the outside world drift away like ancient civilizations sleeping quietly inside history. You do not need to think about anything anymore. Tonight, all empires have fallen silent. All stone roads are covered in mist, and every wonder now whispers softly beneath the moonlight of time. If you enjoy gentle journeys like this, where history, psychology, and ancient stories blend together like a dream before sleep, subscribe to the channel and continue traveling with us through the depths of the human mind and the long memory of civilization. And now, close your eyes. Take one slow breath. Let your thoughts drift gently among pyramids, temples, and ancient stars. May your night be peaceful. Sleep well, and we will meet again in the next dream of history.